So meditation, a favorite expression of Gurudev's, is the key to everything. It's all of yoga. It's all of life. It's all of who you already are. It's not, you might have thought, oh, this is some practice that I'm going to go do at the ashram, some serious technical practice. But how many of you consider yourself beginning meditators? I'm raising my hand with you. How many lifetimes have you been practicing? You could qualify as a beginner easily after many lifetimes because you want to be a beginner anyway. There was a great book once called Zen Mind, Beginner Mind. Zen is all about meditation. Yoga and all the spiritual paths are all about meditation, right? In the Bible, it says, be still and know that I am God. And if you read that just as it is, I am God, that's that's exactly what Yoga and Vedanta says. Tatvamasi, thou art that. Yeah, they have the boldness to say it very explicitly. And so does the Bible, by the way. And all these other traditions that we celebrate. Have you been to Lotus yet? Good. So you saw a reminder of all these different faiths. Yeah. By the way, I like to remind people that when you're on the lower level, if you can actually see God in the see Dayanandaji here, I'm thinking of Shinto. If you look at the Shinto area in the all-face hall, that's the ground level, bend down low and look into the temple. There's a little temple, little miniature temple there. And if you bend down low and look in, you'll see God. So I won't tell you what I mean by that, but some of you know already. But just do that. Bend down low, look in the Shinto temple in the Shinto area of the all-face hall, and you'll see God. Well, I can't resist saying one thing about that, which is that Gurudev often would say, and you all know that when I say Gurudev, I mean Swami Satchidananda, because you could be here for a while and say, that Gurudev seems to have a lot of nice things that people are quoting, and so does that Swami Satchidananda. It's just an affectionate and respectful way that we like to refer to him. He would say, if you want to go to the temple and see God, don't forget to take God with you. When you and then you'll see that if you bend down low. You have to bend down low, so it's an automatic humility practice there. So humility is good, right? Good stuff comes when you get low. You know, for one thing, not as far to fall. Right? Humility is great for that. If you think, I'm an advanced yogi now, watch out. But if you know that you're just a beginner and you're not looking for bragging rights at all, then you're a lot safer and more comfortable, and I think more pleasant to be around. Yeah. Why is meditation the key to everything? Yeah, I would say meditation is synonymous with yoga, synonymous with the essence of all the spiritual paths. I keep sort of gesturing towards the gallery of saints. You've seen them out there, and the pictures are repeated here without their name plates, so that some of them are probably pretty mysterious. But one thing I want to say about them is that this is just a minuscule sampling of the saints and sages who we hope to entice into constantly blessing us. This is nothing. Excuse me, it's not nothing. We've got some of the greatest titans to ever walk the earth. But there's thousands and thousands of great spiritual masters who we could just as easily put pictures up. And we feel that they're here. And we feel that when we honor these particular ones from all the faith traditions that we could think of, that we are invoking the presence and the blessings of the many, many, many more, including the silent ones who never became famous. You know, they were smart enough not to start ashrams. You get real famous when you start an ashram, and then you go, oh boy, now we have nothing but. I was just listening to Gurudev on a video. There's hundreds, I don't know whether you know, there's probably thousands of videos on the Integral Yoga YouTube channel. So if you get curious, just delve into that. It's great. And there's another channel called Satchidananda Ashram YouTube channel that has others, but it has a little bit, the emphasis is a little bit more talks by devotees or stories of Gurudev. Yeah. So that sort of thing. But the one I was listening to, he was saying, you know, that as soon as you want something, you're in trouble. You know, wanting is the only thing between us and enlightenment, according to, where's Avayar? Is that her? The old lady saint? She's referred to as, she lived long before photography, so it's one of the drawings there. And she famously said she gave her teachings in the shortest couplets. She outdid her contemporary, Tiruvalluvar, who gave his in very short couplets. The ones she gave were even shorter. They were sort of dueling enlightened beings. And one that Gurudev made us memorize of hers, that some of the old timers present, this is like a cognitive test for some of us. And the kids at school would all do this when we had a full school here. It just goes like this. This is the whole thing. It's in Tamil, South Indian language. That's Gurudev's native tongue. It says, Atradu patranel, utradu vidu. And we would say it like that because it has like a little lilt. And I'm sure if Gurudev were here speaking, right after I said that, he would have gone like this. He had a tendency to grimace whenever I said anything in Sanskrit or Tamil, but it was pretty close to that, as far as I know. That's how it sounded to me. Atradu patranil, utradu vidu. So here's what it means. It simply means drop once. W-A-N-T-S, drop once, and your vidu, your home. Vidu means two things, home and enlightened. The only thing between us and our true home, which is our true nature, which is enlightenment, nirvana, awakening. It's called by many names in many traditions. And all the mystics and all these traditions are striving for that, or not striving. They're relaxing with total surrender, passing the time until that comes about, because striving doesn't work well with meditation, yoga, spirituality, and yet it's totally necessary. No one has ever succeeded without striving, and it's totally doesn't work. So there you go. That's a Zen koan for you. And it particularly doesn't work with meditation, but I shouldn't say particularly, because meditation isn't one particular thing. It's the whole thing. It's the whole thing. So that's how I know, even those of you who said that you're beginners, have been meditating your whole life, People that have heard me talk about this are thinking, oh, he's about to tell about the sunset or something like that, the Grand Canyon. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But that feeling you have when you're awestruck, wonderstruck, which my buddy, the great Reverend Jagannath, likes to say that's a very important ingredient of spiritual life. He teaches his students that always, is to allow yourself to be awestruck, wonderstruck, on a regular basis. And when you have that many times in your life, probably, you remember going outside on a starlit night and it was real quiet. Maybe the sun had set an hour ago, but there was still orange coming through bare branches of the trees. I'm remembering from when I was a kid, black, like filigree against the orange sky. The stars are coming out, the moon is coming out. And you just stand there. It just stops you. It silences you. That's the essence of meditation, which is the essence of who you are. You are meditating. You are that which you seek, is the essence of yoga. So if that's the case, why come here to a retreat? All we're trying to do is just make it more conducive. And by getting together, it really helps. That's one of the hugest things you can do to deepen your meditation, is to be with like-hearted seekers. We usually say like-minded, but it's really the heart that matters. The whole key to spiritual life is heart. And what I mean by that, the word in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, one of the greatest masters of all time, is satkara. He says, if you want to succeed, you need all these things. You need to meditate for a long time, he says. Forget about, how little kids plant seeds. Did you ever plant a garden as a child? And I don't know whether any of you did this, but I know some children definitely do this. Maybe I did, I don't know. You go back out the next day and you dig it up a little bit to see whether it's growing. He says, forget that. You're going to have to meditate for a long time. He has a famous sutra, or the name for the little strings of words. They like brevity, a lot of these folks. They like silence. Probably that's why, So why they like brevity. So he says, if you want to succeed in meditation, in practice, he says, you got to do it long time. Got to do it without break. What does that mean? A lot of us are very good at doing it on and off. I used to meditate a real lot, and then the past 7 years, not so much. Yeah. Of course, that's sort of like saying I used to breathe a lot, not so much the last 7 years. You are meditating already. It's just whether you're making it as conducive as possible. Yeah. So that's some of what we might talk about.